home, something that had come as quite a surprise. Well, that was true enough, but nowhere in the citation was the significance of her discovery mentioned, the true significance that she, leaping from sight to insight, had understood long ago, that genes did not absolutely determine what an organism would be. It was as though you celebrated Thomas Edison for making a filament of carbon incandescent without explaining what the thing did. Light up a dark room. Part 1, 1923. Chapter 1. Outside it had grown colder, but at least the wind had dropped. The white November moon lit up the empty street as, clutching her suitcase, Kate plunged into the night. The moon swam in and out of the trees, and the curtained windows of the houses seemed to watch her as she passed, like the blank black eyes of whales. As long as she was walking, she could almost manage not to think. Instead, in the darkness of her mind, she recited the phyla and classes of plants. Talophyta, bryophyta, pteridophyta, moving steadily in the direction of the campus as though pulled by a current. It was the way her feet knew to go. It was quiet. No leaves scudded along the pavement, no cars rumbled, no chattering voices relieved the vacant silence that closed over her like water. In an hour or two, the first buses would start running, and the sparrows with their feathers puffed for winter would twitter in the bushes. But right now, it seemed not a soul in Ithaca was awake besides herself. And Thea, of course, shut up somewhere inside the house behind her, her face pink with shock. Kate thrust that face away, deep in the darkness of her mind. By the time she reached the library, her arm ached and her feet throbbed in their heavy shoes. The great stone building was dark. In a daze, Kate went up to the door and tugged on it anyway. It gave a quarter of an inch, jolting hope up through her before the bolt caught and held. She turned away and resumed walking. Gymnospermy, angiospermy. And the next time she looked up, she was in front of Roberts Hall, the biology building. She set the suitcase down and looked up at the steps with their litter of brown oak leaves. She looked at the heavy double doors, above which the great windows, each one as tall as a person, faintly reflected the moonlight. Perhaps because they were bare, they seemed less unfriendly than the ones she had passed in the town, with their linen or flowered damask curtains closed against her. She walked up to the wall and laid her hand against the cold grit of the stone. The deep slate sill of the first-floor window pressed into her waist. When the weather was fine, students lounged there, dangling their legs. Kate hoisted herself up, leaning back against the cold glass. Images from the night, pale, hard faces, and pairs of girls waltzing in sherbet-colored dresses, crowded into her mind. She pulled her legs under her and got carefully to her feet. Grabbing onto the upper ledge with her hands, she peered up. Just above was the window of the biology lab, which Dr. Krause kept open half an inch to combat the gas and formaldehyde smells. And because, he said, he liked the fresh air. When I was a boy in München, we always slept with the windows open, even in winter, he had told his introduction to biology students. It was thought to be good for our health. Was the window open now? Clinging to the stone, Kate squinted. The ribbon of darkness along the bottom seemed differently black than the darkness above it. Her fingers scrabbled, searching for holds. Next to her, the decorative brickwork formed a kind of frieze, a band protruding slightly from the rows above and below. Perhaps if she could get her foot onto it, she could hoist herself up. Then again, she might slip, tumbling down the facade, to land in a heap on the forecourt. Well, there was only one way to find out. She felt better now that she had a plan. Besides, she had always liked climbing, the backyard elm tree, beaches in the woods on summer afternoons. As she reached her foot over to the frieze, her body felt light. Her scuffed shoe did not slide. She reached up with one hand, then with the other, pushing with her leg. Yes, it was open. Barely, but it was. She slid her hands under the sash, forcing the glass up until she could duck into the room. Inside, everything was quiet and dark. The room smelled of fixatives and stains, of dead snakes.